Hey folks, welcome to another edition of BrushPile Fishing. We are at Stuttgart, Arkansas. We're going to have a great show today. Now we've got a lot of rain overnight. If all the fields coming up here are absolutely covered in muddy water, but we're going to be fishing with Jeff Smith of Crappie Magnet. It's a pond that he has. We are actually going out wading, and you know I love doing this. Haven't done it since I did the show with John Harrison. So we're going to be wading, dipping in some cypress trees. This is going to be awesome. Of course, using Crappie Magnet jigs. William Oliver, John Harrison. Jeff has assured me we will not be seeing snakes today. If so, we're going to have some problems. But if not, we're in for a great show. So folks, you stay tuned. We'll be right back with BrushPile Fishing.
Many people look at a lake and feel a sense of calm serenity. Crappie fishermen feel the heart-pounding anticipation of the thump. That's why host Russ Bailey is addicted to crappie fishing. It's this addiction that takes Russ from the Midwest to the Deep South in search of the best lakes, techniques, and patterns from some of the best crappie anglers in the country. Right here on BrushPile Fishing.
Hey folks, welcome back to BrushPile Fishing with Jeff Smith. Jeff.
Hey.
You know, in my opening, I said that you guys got a lot of rain overnight. This is supposed to be dry land.
Yeah, this is our trail coming in. So we got way more rain than I thought we did. The minnows are pushed up here in the field, which scares me a little bit. Yeah, they're pushed up here. This is typically dry, so we knew this lake needed a little bit more water. It did. I don't know we needed the amount we got, but you know, these fish are all up in these trees spawning. And they'll stay there. In fact, I see fish moving right inside the trees right here, Russ.
Nice.
And so that means we're going to have to be really careful because it's pushed those fish back further than, and that's what you really got to remember when you're wading in trees, you know, they'll change the depth in here based on the time of the year. Like the first time I came down here, they were just inside the woods in water about that deep. It was the warmest water on the lake. Right. Everything else was 50 or less. Okay. And so they moved up here. And as I've come back, every time I fished, they get out a little further. Gotcha. And so that cold night last night and the night before could have pushed them back up in the shallow water. All that rain. So we'll just start shallow and work our way out to try to find them. So.
Okay, we are fishing the forest, folks. I love doing this. I don't know how it's going to work out with all this rain, but Jeff, you ready to get started?
Oh, let's do it. Follow me into the jungle. Come on.
All right.
In the trees.
Man, fingers crossed, man. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait.
The duck's getting up. Wood duck. That's not good. That was wood duck in an area that there shouldn't be water.
Really?
Yeah. It right there. Yeah, my. Oh wow, the water's way up. Oh wow.
Your gear and conditions sponsored by Cornfield Fishing Gear.
And all we're going to do is we're going to keep walking. What I like to do is I like to keep enough line out. You're only fishing, look, we're knee deep. Okay. So basically I put my jig in there and I'm controlling my depth like this. All right. And then I just start walking, see how I'm swinging it, and I'll find a tree and I'll go in beside it. If I get hung up, I just shake it off. That way you're covering a lot of ground. Most of the time in this style of fishing, you don't think you had a hit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Water stained, but I can see that jig down there a few inches.
I see a lot of movement.
We're gonna have to get it in front of them, there's no doubt about that.
But you say this water's normally pretty stained back here?
Very stained, yeah. Not this stained, but not much worse than what it is. Between here and the big cypress tree out there is where the fish will be. See the big cypress tree out there? And when it's right, they'll be around. There he is.
Oh, look at that. Oh, first one. Look at that. Holy cow, look at this one.
Come here. First one, Russ Bailey.
Jeff, we're in what, 2 foot of water?
Yeah.
We're walking in 2 foot.
Yeah, the male, colored up. Oh, did you see that pole thump?
Oh, boy, he's pretty.
Oh, he's pretty. All right, just moving around. Remember, keep it real shallow. That fish was only, man, I was only 4 or 5 inches deep. I was up close to the top, to be honest with you. I'm gonna start a stringer of these.
Shallow.
And then I'll just start what you're doing right there. Now kind of swim it to this tree to that tree. Keep it that deep, and just swing it. There you go, lift up over whatever it's on. There you go. That's it. I like to keep my rod tip really close to water.
Okay.
Because out here, everything's above you. And so you have nowhere to go if you're not within a couple inches of the water, you know what I'm saying, to go up.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times I'm setting the hook with my left hand, you know, pulling that line instead of going up. Especially in here because up is just.
Oh, that's a pretty fish, dark.
All right, we got one on the stringer.
Nice.
See if we can find about 100 of his buddies.
Okay, so I gotta work.
And when you're in an area like this,
close.
They don't think about it too much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like right here closer to us might even be better too. They'll be assimilated a lot of times to a big tree,
Okay.
but not always. Sometimes they'll be just in this buckbrush right here, all the way around us. So go ahead and start working your way through, and when you get through there, just fish. See how I'm fishing it? I'm gonna hit every area between here and there.
Folks, this is an adventure in fishing, but it's also going to be an adventure for Joe, the camera guy. He actually has a small camera on a pole right now trying to keep up with this, so.
I was neglecting to mention one thing. You also want to keep your head on a swivel up and around.
Don't even say it.
I'm not saying the names of what we're,
say it.
but just don't look, I would not take your mind off of.
So all we're doing right now, Jeff, is just moving real slow.
That's right.
Fishing the big trees and fishing this buckbrush.
And what I know just from being here, there's a ton of cypress knees right where you and I are. So we're just fishing over those knees too with this brush.
So they're right in this area.
Yeah. But you know, the last 2 times I've been here, they've been back behind us, which is not what we normally see out here. So if that becomes the pattern, we'll just start changing how we fish too. We won't get to this deep water as quickly.
Do you have any idea how much rain you guys actually got here
They
overnight?
say 3 inches that I found out this morning down here. Now where I live, just up the road, we did not get that much. Not over close, so 3 inches is a lot of rain.
There you go. Not as big,
Not as big,
but it's a crappie.
but he is a crappie and he thumped it. Little guy. We're gonna let him go.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. There you go, Russ.
Come here. Look at that beautiful fish. And as far as the color, it was funny because when we got here and I seen the mud, I told Joe, my camera guy, I said, orange, orange, orange. And then first thing that Jeff gets out, he says, man, it's muddy, we're gonna need orange. And that's what both of us got on. That's another nice fish, pretty whites. Man, if I was a crappie, I'd be in this stuff. So far, folks, we've caught them in this like buckbrush stuff and also on some of the knobs from the cypress trees. I'm gonna raise up and go to the outside of this. One good tip Jeff gave is just keeping that rod tip low to the water. And you'll see me do this a lot when I'm even fishing with a cork. I'll control that line with my left hand. That's big in here today in this stuff. Just slow swimming that jig. There we go.
Ooh, nice fish, Russ. Nice
big
fish.
Boy. Come here. All I'm doing is letting out some line, bringing her to me. Come here. Oh. All right, folks, Jeff told me about this last year. We were too late to get the show. We had scheduling issues. We already postponed this show once this year because of scheduling. If you can't tell, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like, I've wanted to do this show. Awesome. Eye-hole jig, 1/8 ounce, and look at that orange and chartreuse crappie magnet. Correct, Jeff?
That's it. You can call whatever you want as long as you catch crappie like that.
Doggone. Oh. All right.
And sometimes we're not seeing it, you know, they could be right here in the middle of nowhere, but they'll be simulated to a tree. And you'll notice one thing that's real significant. You feel the ground you're standing on? See how hard it is?
Yep.
This is where they are. That's why we're staying in this area. And you get out of this area, that's mud over there.
Gotcha.
They won't stay in that area. So if you're trying new waters, you can start eliminating stuff really quick.
Just by feeling the bottom.
By feeling the bottom, and you'll know, oh, I started catching fish, and then you'll start to notice you got a hard bottom. I don't think even these white crappie like that muddy, muddy, muddy bottom to spawn in.
Ask the Angler, sponsored by Hook and Bullet Sunglasses.
Hey folks, before we get back to the water, I want to talk about one thing. You may have seen us dragging these things off of our waders today, and this is a slick thing, especially when you're doing what we did. Jeff, this is brand new. Can you tell folks about it?
Well, it's just a way that we could put tackle and keep it dry, and also just keep it on our body.
Awesome.
You know, because every time we did stuff like this, we'd come back and get some stuff tied on, and it had no good way to carry except putting a tackle box down on our waders. But it really started as I had a friend who his son didn't have a lot of tackle and they'd fish with us in my boat. And I actually gave it to them in the boat so they wouldn't have to keep coming back up to the front of the boat. And what it is, it's just sealed on the bottom. The bags are upside down. But the good thing about it is if you're new to the crappie magnet, on the back of each bag tells you what it goes with, how to fish it, all the different things. It's got fin spins, it's got slab curlies, it's got the panfish magnet, and all you do is clip it and go fishing. And then when we do this kind of stuff, it's absolutely perfect.
And the thing is, you've got all the different things in it, but if you know what you're going to be using,
you bet.
You can customize
I stacked them,
You go out.
I put some extra colors in some of these that we knew we need for this water.
A little bit of orange.
You betcha.
So anyways, it's a great invention. We never had to worry about, like he said, tucking it in or anything. So I want to let folks know about it.
Yeah, the tackle pack, it can be a deadly help to people who especially don't have a lot of tackle for the first thing. It's really good because it's got everything in one box.
So I just thought you might be curious with everything hanging. We've got, of course, the bait pin. We've got this and everything else. But doing wading, you want everything else out of your hands because just getting those fish in sometimes through all these trees is time consuming enough. So
you bet it is. Let's go catch some more.
All right, let's go. So Jeff, this area we're in now, does this typically have water in it for spawning, or is this just because of all the rain last night? Because
No.
you wonder why these fish would be up this far.
That's right, yeah. Well, here's what we found is we're finding this in a lot of places. This is a duck hole, right?
Okay.
So out there is, duck hunting, and the water stays up in here all duck season and usually through the spring. So as long as I can remember, we've come in here and caught them just like this. Now the water was 1 inch to 2 inches lower just recently, and so, it's still water in these trees. But if you look around, you look what you see. You got privet trees, you've got cypress trees. These are trees that are surviving in this water pretty much all year long. Summertime, it might get down to the edge right here, but there's still water right here where we're standing in the summertime. So that's what it takes a lot of times. Find those places that water exists all the time. Now they'll come up here and spawn in this shallow water if the water's here and it's never been here. I mean, that's a dangerous thing for them too, because then they're spawning in areas that could dry up before the fry get able to get big enough to get out.
Right.
But I promise, all the times that you've been fishing and you went, man, wonder what's back in there in those trees? This is what's back in those trees, anywhere in the country.
I was just going to say, from where we got out of your vehicle, it's like, man, this just flooded. We're going on back beyond this. As soon as we got in here, started catching.
That's right. I say we keep moving.
Okay.
I say it's turn around and go to the next spot. Oh, Russ.
That was out of the water. That was out of the water.
Hey Joe, you got that camera on why he's hung in the tree? Oh, he got out. Oh, that fish are gonna bite again. Get ready, that fish will bite again.
Out of the water.
Did he feel the hook?
No, my jig was about right there.
Well, that tells you, that's what I'm saying.
That's where he was.
They're seeing it up shallow. Come on, baby. Let old Ice him in there, see what he can do. That's nuts.
I was pulling that. When you said to move, I pulled it. I could see the jig
when
and
he
then
tried
he come
to,
up. Yes.
Did he feel it?
No, no. That was pretty cool.
All right.
That shows you how shallow they are.
Yeah,
though.
really, you were right up on top.
Yep.
It was kind of hard to get moved around some of this stuff.
You tell me where we're going.
We're gonna walk out around through here.
Okay. I'm gonna put a bigger bait on just to see.
Yeah, try a slab magnet.
Because when they're hitting it
Yeah.
hard. I am gonna drop down on this limb where I seen it moving though. Right in there is where it was.
Oh man!
Come here. Hey Jeff.
Hey.
I don't want to say I called my shot.
I love it.
I called my shot.
Yeah, you did.
Look
A
at
bigger
that.
bait and put it on the tree you saw move.
You know, folks, we've been starting out with just a regular crappie magnet, and I told Jeff they're hitting it hard, so I wanted to see what that slab magnet would do, and I seen a branch move just a few minutes ago. I don't know if Joe got that on tape, but I told him before we move I wanted to break or drop right down. How long that take?
About a second and a half.
Look at there. Now I gotta see if his big brother's in there. Dude, he thumped that slab magnet, man. You gotta figure too, in that muddy water, they can see profile.
I'm believing you. I believe that color right there would be it too.
And I love that orange with that chartreuse head. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. Gotta be a big old slab in
Yeah,
there.
and just start swimming it away from that thing too, out to your right through that shadow. Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna go right up on that buck brush too, Jeff.
Yeah.
What you got? There we go. You knew there had to be one on that tree.
Had to be
besides
one
that
there
little
somewhere. Yeah. Put that slide bite on, first drop.
Nice.
I thought, you know, if it doesn't matter, it gives me more confidence, right? But I think sometimes it matters. Little guy. We'll let him go though.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's a good one. Come here. Black and chartreuse just made a color change.
Oh, nice fish, Russ. Nice fish. Did you get him?
Yeah.
I guess I happen to have the stringer in my hand.
I
Look at
just made a color change to black and chartreuse. And he thumped it, thumped it, thumped it. Look at these. Woo! Look at that. No snakes, Mr. Oliver. None, Mr. Harrison. Jeff is a much better guide than you guys.
Do that again. If there's another one in there that'll do that.
All right.
That's a pretty fish right there.
So we started out, both of us, with orange and chartreuse.
And I'll tell you a secret. I just put orange and chartreuse by that tree.
Really?
I did, yep. 'Cause I was thinking about going that way. You put it right there where I just did, and
My second favorite muddy water is black and chartreuse.
You betcha.
And then my third's kind of an oddball that not many people use. I like yellow and white.
Oh, really?
Yep. Boy, that fish hit the heck out of it too. Folks, if we didn't tell you, we are in the middle of April. As a matter of fact, the 15th of April. After a heavy, heavy rainstorm last night. We talked earlier. You know, Jeff said they got 3 inches, probably more in this area. And you see, we have very rarely been in water, you know, past our knees today. It's been all shallow. And it has been fun. We got here this afternoon. We're on a really tight schedule right now. So we got here this afternoon. We're trying to get this show done in just a couple hours. Don't know if we'll have to do it in the morning at this point or not, but boy, we've got some good ones so far. And Jeff has actually said, you said the afternoon bite has been better.
Usually from now till dark is when it gets better. It really does. So I'm hoping that that's just a sign of things to come.
And Jeff's going to check the water temperature before we leave. But I can tell you, because I have a hole in my waders, it's not cold. It feels pretty good. So far this afternoon, we've caught fish in the real thin buckbrush. We caught it right on the big, thick trees. So none's been better than the other, actually. Off here. Oh, there he is. He hit that off the branch. He hit it off the branch. Oh, come here. Dude, he was right on it. Come here. Come here.
Oh, nothing broke again.
There we go. Doggone it. My problem is I want to set the hook and not pull the line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I do too. It's hard to talk to yourself, isn't it? Yeah.
Folks, what we're doing now, Jeff saw some more trees moving and some squirrels. And Jeff's technique, all he's doing is walking real slow. We're hitting all the cover up to that point. And he's just kind of swimming that jig nice and slow. And these fish are hitting shallow. We've even caught some, Jeff, in the open water, which I'm sure, like you said, there's stuff underneath that we're not seeing.
Yeah, right.
And folks, I don't get to do this much. The hardest thing to get used to is setting that hook with your hand here and not driving that rod up. Because you've got so many overhangs and everything else. Jeff?
Yes, sir.
I know the weather's different every year, but typically, how long is this bite good for like this?
Usually about another week. Once it gets hot and gets up in the mid-60s, the water temperature, then it seems like the males will stick around for a little bit, but the females are gone, and you just don't have the numbers of fish shallow anymore.
Yeah.
So every area is probably dependent upon that temperature. And our part of the country, mid to late April. This year, it's going to be a little bit later, I think, because, man, it's been cold.
It's been cold everywhere.
Yeah. We've not had 60-degree water temperature, really at all in a lot of this water. So, it's the middle of April. I'd say we're going to have another week or two. Once that water temperature gets up in the mid-60s for a couple days, and especially at nighttime, they'll move out of here and they'll be out there in the main lake pretty quick. Hit that big tree right there, Russ. Go right at that tree. Get right up against it. There's got to be a fish right in there.
What you got? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a hog. Holy.
That's a good fish right there.
Hey, you got the orange going again.
That's what we're looking for.
Nice, Jeff. He thump it?
He thumped the mess out of it. Felt like a stick of dynamite going off.
Love it.
That was in that opening, not in the thick stuff. I put you over where I thought they'd be. Especially right from there to that big tree that you're facing right there. They seem to like that area right through there. Come over here, Russ. Hit that spot.
Off there.
Come over here where I just caught that. That's pretty close to the same place that last one was.
Oh, back to back.
Back to back.
Ooh,
That's a big fish right there too. There we go. Yeah, come right here beside me. Pretty close to the same area. They've not seen black and chartreuse yet.
Nice. Was that in open water?
It was where your rod tips out right now, but about 4 feet towards the big tree. So just keep fishing your way in there.
That's several that have come in the open water, or at least not visible cover.
That's exactly right, not this thick cover.
And now the BrushPile Gear Check, sponsored by Garmin.
So folks, we're going to do the gear check. We're losing sunlight out here, so we're going to do it right here on the water. As far as the rods we were using, we talked about them earlier on the water. We used the Tree Thumper by B&M. That's Jeff's rod. It's a 12-foot rod. We also use my 10.5-foot Signature Series, both by B&M, of course. As far as line, now Jeff actually went with a braided line, and I highly, highly recommend that for fishing this style because A, you're getting in these buck brush and you're going to lose some stuff. I don't like using a big heavy line, but I went with an 8-pound today. I had mono slime line, high vis, and there was a couple times those fish hit, you would see the line moving. So it's important that you had the high vis, especially back in these shaded areas. As far as the jigs, we had 2 different kind of jig heads on today. I was starting out with the eye hole jig. You know, I've been using that a lot. 1/8 ounce, orange was my favorite color today. Jeff had his crappie magnet jig heads, the double cross, and he was going with 1/8. We caught them on 2 different styles crappie magnet plastics. The regular crappie magnet, which is the double tail. Color-wise, black and chartreuse, orange and chartreuse, all we used today. And the other bait that we used, the plastic, was a slab magnet. It's a big, big bait, and that's the one, if you remember earlier, when I seen that limb move, as soon as I dropped it down, that fish just ambushed it. So 2 different kinds of plastics today. The fish hit them all. When you did find the fish, and if you got that jig anywhere close, they absolutely thumped it. So it was a great time here this afternoon, and that's today's Brush Pile Gear Check. So Jeff, as far as rod lengths, now today we've been switching on and off, but I've got my 10.5-foot series. You've got the Tree Thumper. Is this a 12?
It's a 12. If you go any longer than 12, you really hurt yourself because that 14-foot gets hung up in every tree that you go by.
Okay.
But you like right now, look at right now. Look where you can get my 10-footer. I've got to reach a lot further to get in there, right? So sometimes, I think ideally 12 foot's probably what I probably stick to.
Okay.
If it's real thick cover, I like this 10-footer because I can get in and out a whole lot easier with it. But 10 to 12 foot, 8 foot's too close to your feet.
Yeah.
You're spooking them. So 10 to 12 foot, if I was gonna say you're gonna try this stuff, get a 12 foot, what I like to do is I like anything that I've got where I can put my hand in front of the reel. That way it balances that out. You're carrying this thing all day. And so it's kind of one of those things that helps with the fatigue of the arm. That Tree Thumper is perfect. The Duck Commander series is perfect.
They're both light rods.
Yeah, light rods. And this is good too because it's got a lot of cork right there in front of it. But also I like that where I can also get that extra foot and get a hold of the end of the pole and just reach, especially when I'm doing that right there. If I'm going to get to a spot I can't quite get to, I can get to the end of that pole when I need to.
Well, and the one thing that you said that you're absolutely right is if you go any shorter than that, you're going to spook these fish because we have not been in much water past our knees today. We really haven't.
Yeah, you bet. I still think there's another one right in there where you are to the left or past us here. Because I saw too much move. I'd try hard left up in those holes too.
Just working it slow. Sun's starting to go down. With all the rain they got, the bite hasn't been tremendous today, but man, it's been good enough. And you know what? You catch one of these, it's worth
it is, isn't
hours
it?
out. Yes.
It is, it really is. It's a totally different bite. Feeling that thump. I mean, it is a thump now. Oh, good fish, good fish, good fish.
Come here. Come here.
Wait.
Nice. Man, when they do hit it, man, oof, I don't fall.
Don't fall in.
Folks, when they do hit these things, man, oh man, they thump the fire out of them. I tell you what, I don't know if you can tell, folks, the sun's going down. In my hook and bullet sunglasses, I might add, but sun's going down. We're going back to the cabin. We're going to fry a few of the smaller ones up. It has been a good afternoon. We have only had a couple hours to get this show, and I trusted Jeff. He said, look, the afternoon light's been better. We'll get this show. We get here, there's rain everywhere. Jeff, you came through.
Well, I don't know about that. These fish sometimes can prove you wrong, can't they? But look at that right there. Look at that sun shining. Ooh. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
And that fish hitting this jig 6 inches from your rod tip feels like an explosion.
Bam, in the water it goes.
Yeah. Oh man, what a fun time.
Folks, I don't get to do this often. The areas that we fish around my house, we just don't have this kind of stuff. So Jeff, I really appreciate the opportunity.
You bet.
Folks, if you do have waters like this where you can get in and wade early spring, man, there is nothing like it. The scenery is good. We heard sounds, nature.
You bet.
Jeff,
Thank you, my
brother.
friend. Yeah.
And I've told you this before, folks. When I first started using just the regular crappie magnet, I told Jeff, I'm not sure that thing's gonna catch fit. Jeff, it has been awesome from Florida to Michigan, you name it, and it's not bad in this wading.
Oh, it's definitely not bad. Yeah, you bet. God bless you.
Hey, thank you. Brother, it's been a great time.
You have.
Jeff, we'll do this again.
You betcha.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. It was an awesome time for me. This was really fun. And you stay tuned. We'll be back again with BrushPile Fishing. Oh, it's your fish. Gosh, darn it. Oh, dude, you have me so paranoid.
These snakes won't bother you. You'll be all right. I hope you got that.
Not.
I hope you got that.
That will not
I hope
make
you got
any cuts.
It will.
Oh my goodness.
Starting off the show with that.
You tell the show's all business.
Oh yeah, it's all business.
Special thanks to B&M Pole Company, War Eagle Boats, Crappie Magnet, Slime Line Fishing Line, Cornfield Fishing Gear, Eye-Hole Jig, Easy Drift, RTD Erupt Fishing, Driftmaster, Offshore Tackle Company, Power Pole, Mossback Fish Habitat,